final inductee tonight will be Dave Smith from Co-Brown. So I got a phone call, I can't remember when it was, last January, from Mike Whaley, who was a long-time reporter for the Fosters. Actually went to college with him. And he said, Dave, what's the story of this Hall of Fame thing? And, he kind of joined us on the committee to pick people. He goes, we got to talk about Dave Smith. You know he's never going to retire. And if we're all waiting for him to retire, we're probably not going to be here to put him in the Hall of Fame. So we got to come up with some kind of a rule that if you've coached for 60 years or so, you can get in automatically. So we went back to the committee and it was unanimous. It was time to bring Dave into this honor. So without any further ado, congratulations, Dave. Dave's going to be presented by Frank Weeks.
Dave didn't tell me how long I could talk. Mike knows, right? But I want to end. I'll tell you who I am later on, but I know the way to beat Dave Smith in basketball. It's 100%. It works 100% of the time. And Dave knows what I'm going to say. It's turkey gravy with mushrooms. And when I was assistant coach for 3 years or 2 years, we went to dinner during the quarterfinals and the prelims. We won. Quarterfinals, we won. He never had gravy on his mashed potatoes. The semifinals we went and we had mashed gravy on his mashed potatoes, and we lost. So I'm breaking the secret. If you want to know how to beat Dave, invite him to have a dinner with. So. I didn't know whether it was supposed to be serious or not, but Dave knows me. And but first of all, I just have a few cards here. I know they're going to throw me off, but back when we were coaching, I was helping him out. I wasn't coaching; I was helping him out. In probably 1967 was when I first started helping him. We went to Danny Barr's house in Hopkinton. He had just won 2 state championships. And we both stood there in awe of him, just in awe. He was like God's gift to basketball. And today I look at Dave, and I stand in awe looking at you, of what you've done, and you're God's gift to basketball as far as I'm concerned. And he knows that. Okay. I was going to make some acknowledgments of his JV coaches. I talked to Sam, and I don't know if Dave's going to acknowledge the names, or you want me to acknowledge the names? Or? Okay. The following people were his assistant coaches since 1990. Sam Ashley, Sean Ashley, Nate Bassett, Chris Burns, Bill Clark, Gary Colby, Steve Colby, Dave Daigle, Ron Jock, James Johnson, and Matt Skids. And I thank Sam for all that information. And I think I know that assistant coaches are really valuable for a team. And then I talked to Dave about this. I just want to acknowledge a lady that coached at Alton back then, Sherry Seavey. She coached volleyball, basketball, cheerleading, and softball, which was a lot to do back then. And the pay, I think Mike was a student of mine too. Probably were getting $25 a year or $50 a year, whatever it may be. But what you've all been waiting for, I know when he's retiring. Okay. I mathematically calculated. Wait, don't laugh at this. This is serious. I figured that he's going to stay in basketball long enough to catch up to Gino Aramini. Okay? Gino has 1,250 wins. And I calculated, based on 17 wins a season, when he would retire. And I came up with the year 2059. So, Dave, you've got 34 more years to coach before you can catch up to him. So that was my estimate. I hope it's correct. I don't know how much time I have. Just wave the towels. I talked to Sam over at Cole Brown and asked if he could suggest one-word zingers for Dave. And so caring, very caring, consistency, dedication, determination, giving, honest, intense, modest, motivational, these are all one words, persistence, and never give up. And I'm going to focus on Farmington here. We had a game probably the second year he was coaching. We played Farmington. We're down by 20 points at halftime. And the Farmington crowd's laughing like crazy, da, 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 da. At the end of the game, they didn't laugh. We'd come back by 20 points. So that's a good example of persistence, which he instills in his students. He's special, not special needs, special. Okay. And then he does have a negative. And he's a Boston Celtics fan, but he doesn't smoke a cigar. I'm a New York Knicks fan, and I don't smoke a cigar either. And I did leave a note on the table there with 42 on it. And that was the number of points the Knicks got yesterday in the second quarter. John Warden was very big. One thing he does, he never mentions his record. He always talks about how he's working with the students, how they're doing a great job. He never mocks them or anything like that, for the most part. And then I think that comes down to, the total answer is, he's got character. And I've known Dave since 1967, when I first met him. He said, Frank, do you want to go up to Plymouth to do a dance? I said, great, I'm from New York City. So we get in the car, we drive north. I'm saying, Dave, we're going the wrong way. Plymouth is down Massachusetts. He says, just up the road. Where I lived, up the road was a mile or two. And after a half hour, I was convinced he was going to just throw me out of the car and ruin me there. But that's okay. Do I have enough time?
You're on a roll.
Okay, good. Okay. Dave started coaching in BC, which is before Christ, or before the Christian era. But it's actually, I'm getting out of the way. Actually, BC means I like to talk about before Cole Brown. So we have to go back to 1980, maybe, something like that. Okay, so that's Cole Brown. Alton Central School, where we taught at, had 13 students in the graduating class. We had a multi-purpose room with a tile floor and 2 metal half-moon backboards. And the girls were a good team, but they played volleyball back then outside on the lawn. We lined it up, and I was the official. And in one game, a coach came over and said, excuse me, yes, according to the book. And I went, what book? Okay, so they walked away. We had no physical education. And then when we did finally have physical education 3 years later, Dave fired me. No, he didn't fire me. I was asked to leave. So I asked me to start the middle school girls basketball team, which I did for like 6, 7 years, and I eventually got above that. But that was fun. Okay. Dave was also the baseball coach, the athletic director, which he never knew he was an athletic director. There wasn't a position like that. He just did the scheduling. We'd go over to Austin Kate Academy, and what we would do was sit on the floor and throw cards around and make up schedules. And that's how we did it. And then he would call his own officials. And I shouldn't say this, but the officials he called, generally we did very well with. The officials that we lost with, generally we never saw again. I don't know if that's a coincidence or what. This isn't funny, this is serious. Okay. His first season. His first loss of the season was the third game of the season. It was a 71-64 loss to Cole Brown. Okay, although he did show his persistence in the finals, the semifinals of the Southeastern League. He played Co-Brown again, and it was Alton 68 and Co-Brown 49. So he did beat Co-Brown twice at the end. And then in the state tournament, we played Antrim. Antrim had an interesting gym back then. The foul line was the midcourt line, had a balcony going around it. And you could really press really great there because you just shot and turned around, and you could set up a defense. Okay, some things he did which really inspired the kids at Alton. Saturdays we had open gym from 8 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. And sometimes we would go out partying on a Friday night and get back at 2 or 3 in the morning and say, "What the hell with it, we're not going back home." We lived in a house. We went into the gym, pulled the mats down, slept there, and then in the morning we'd wake up, and they'd go out there and we'd play probably 6 hours during the day. And it was open for grades 5 through 12, every kid, boys and girls. And I think our girls program got better because of the chance of them playing against the boys. Okay, when there was no open gym his son knows this story. When we didn't have an open gym, we occasionally drove up to meet our girlfriends up in Montreal. So we'd leave at 9 at night, get up there, then come back at 5 in the morning on Monday and go back to school. And so that takes a lot of perseverance to do that. It's going to get better. Dave always has, well, this is the yearbook, by the way, from 1967 or 68. But Dave always carries a little book with him. I think everyone's seen that. I don't know what's in there. I don't know whether it's your pill or whatever it is, pill book. But there's a reason Dave did that. There's a reason he wears a sweater, too, because the Alton gym did not have any heat, as far as we knew. And so he always wore sweaters, something like that. But Dave has a little book he carries with him. Before that, he had a towel. And he wrapped the towel up and swing it like that. And there's a young player named Nettie. Remember? Yeah. Nettie's sitting there. And he wraps the towel up. Whack! Nettie gets in the face, falls back in the bleachers. We won the game because the kids were scared stiff to lose. So that was good old Nettie. And then the case of the frozen basketball. Dave, remember the frozen basketball? Yeah. We had a boy named Pierre, and he came over to Dave. And this is how Dave's such a great coach, because I would have mocked the kid. And the kid came over and said, "Coach, the basketball's frozen." Dave looks at him, takes the basketball, drops it, it doesn't bounce, has no air, and he says, "Well, it's probably be okay in a little while." Okay. And then I'm going like, tell the kid the truth, like that. So that was the frozen basketball. Am I taking too much time?
You're getting there.
Oh, God. State semifinals against Ashland over at UNH. We're down by 2, whatever it is, and Ashland's taking the ball out of bounds. And Dave says, "We've got to get the ball back. We've got to get the ball back." So the opponent's here. Put your hands out. The line's here. Our boy goes, woof, grabs right up, and it's a technical. And we lost. And Dave was a little upset about that. Okay. Oh, and then we had a thing called the Holocaust. It was a Holocaust. The second year we were coaching, the JVs were undefeated, the varsity's undefeated. We go to Hollis in the snowstorm. We get there, and I remember the score when I was coaching. It was 32-5 at halftime. We were undefeated, but we lost. Dave lost. So we get back in the bus. We're ripped, driving back in a snowstorm, blizzard. The bus breaks down near Reed's Ferry, I think it is. And so we had to hike over to a gas station for the rest of the night. So that was a momentous occasion. Then we did overnight basketball over at Stratford. And then we go to Colebrook. And we get to Colebrook that night. And the damn people at Colebrook, they're snowmobiling all night. They're keeping us up. We can't sleep. God almighty, we've got to sleep. So next morning we have our game at 9 in the morning. The girls are playing. And the girls are like, I mean, they can barely walk. Then we found out it wasn't the damn Colbert people snowmobiling. It was our kids snowmobiling all night. We had 2 games. They were dead. Sorry I'm taking your time. Oh, okay. Athletic banquet. I don't know how Dave did this. We had an athletic banquet, and 5 years in a row, he got Satch Sanders to come up. Next year was Tom Nelson, Henry Finkel, who showed the girls and the boys how to dunk the ball, which is really valuable. Johnny Most, and Steve Kuberski. And Steve Kuberski is very important because, does anyone know what Steve Kuberski's number was? He was the last person to have 33 before Larry Bird, yeah. So that's kind of it. I don't know, Dave, I don't know how you did that. So, is that it? I'm finished. I'm finished.
You got it. Finish it up.
Okay, I just feel like, I'm sorry. Dave knows, yeah, okay. He hosted donkey bit basketball in the gym, and we had the Harlem Magicians. And we stopped doing donkey basketball when one of the parents broke their leg. Then, I don't know if any coaches remember the Sheridan Wayfarer in Bedford, the coaches thing there. And that was really, do they still do that, or? No, that was really great and everything like that. It was a lot of fun. Oh, and then we enjoyed going to Walter Smith's headquarters. And if anyone remembers where it was the room above his garage, and that was it. And Walter was very good, and he recommended something to me. He said, if you want to scout, go to the Concord, the state library, and look at the local newspapers, and you can scout there. So we'd read about Groveton, for instance, and see who their players were. Oh, then we did a Bobby Knight clinic. Remember that? Yeah. Some lady asked a question, and the question was, how do you bounce a ball? And Bobby Knight said, why don't you get out of this damn place here? We don't want any stupid questions like that. And then he says, any more questions? Not a question. Almost finished here. Sorry. And then, okay, last I have to say that I regard Dave as a very good friend of mine. And we've been friends for almost 60 years. We're in the 80-year bracket, and we can still walk with our hip replacements. Okay, so I'd like to introduce you to Dave Smith, and he'll be more serious about this.
I'm sorry, there's no more time left. Thanks to Frank. But today's been great. Opportunity, a variety of different coaches, different communities, different style coaches, probably. So there's several things I'll try to condense. I only have one card, by the way.
I got no cards here.
So to start with, it's about family. As Tim mentioned, this couldn't happen if it wasn't for family. I have a tremendously supportive wife that's put up with me for over 50 years, 56 actually. In fact, today she's in the hospital with a broken bone, unfortunately, recovering though. So she's very disappointed that she couldn't be here today. And dear Frank, she would have liked that, as well as the rest of you. And I have I've been blessed with 2 wonderful kids, Mike and Amy. Who are very supportive, and it's a sacrifice to be a coach, as we all know. It's a lot of time has been given by the families of people seated out here. It truly is a sacrifice, and I've been blessed to have 2 wonderful kids, wonderful wife, and 4 wonderful grandkids. So I'm truly a lucky man. So a lot of the speeches today, there were a few tears probably poked down in a couple of them, and certainly a few laughs, but a great day overall. So I just certainly appreciate that. I have had the opportunity, as Tim and Ed mentioned, to have some wonderful assistants. I have 2 seated back there, Chris and Billy, who've been with me. Billy's been with me probably, he thinks, too long, and Chris has been with me several years. And it's not, it's about a team in coaching. It's not, you know, it's not about the coach, it's about the team. And the reason why we coach is for kids, but it's also having fun ourselves while we're coaching. We have fun with the coaches, we have fun with the kids. And it's, practices to me are more important, more valuable, definitely more fun than the games. That's the development. It's about the development of kids, not only in basketball, but in their lives. Because if anything, wins and losses, that's all great. I've been in 45 tournament games, 45 years. 3 years we did not make the tournament. So if anything, I feel happier about that than I am other things, and the fact that we were able to. Obviously, if I were a better coach, it would have been 48 out of 48 years, but that didn't happen. So to me, that's truly what it's about. So what have we? A couple more thank yous. Dave Chase answered several of my questions throughout this whole venture. People who have given up their time on the executive board to make this happen today for the four of us, we certainly appreciate that. Some great coaches here at the table. One coach, when Frank was talking about the Hollis situation, actually played on that team. 1,000-point scorer. And shows what determination. It's not about the scoring; it's about the determination. He's one of the few 1,000-point scorers that I've had. Another one sitting in the back there, Kyle, 1,000-point scorer. But more important than the 1,000 points is, once again, the type of characters and young men they were with me, in the individual mental discipline that they showed. He played his junior year, not feeling well. If it was now, probably he would have been allowed to play. But his mother was sure that he was able to play, I'll tell you. She was right on top of it. Kyle, another example, got hurt in the quarterfinal game his senior year. He couldn't practice. The doctor gave him that he couldn't practice, no physical contact the night before the semifinal game. So, I mean, he was obviously at practice and whatever. So I go upstairs doing whatever I had to do to get ready for the next day, and Kyle was downstairs practicing, running laps, running line drills. That just shows you how, you know, lucky we are. I had another boy, and I don't recommend this for Coach Mitchell, but he didn't show up to practice, and I really find that offensive. I appreciate everyone being at practice, so I wouldn't recommend doing this now for coaches. So I went to his house after our practice, and fortunately his mom I love dearly, and she fortunately liked me enough to let me come in. And I said, where was your son? He said, well, he should have been there tonight. Well, can I take him to the gym back with me? And she said, yes, please do. So we went back to the gym and practiced for 1.5 to 2 hours, and then I took him home. Probably now that might not go over quite as well. But that boy was not the best basketball player that I ever coached, but that boy ended up playing a tournament game. We beat an undefeated team in the early rounds that year. He had 30 rebounds, which is, you know, quite a feat, because basically he could barely move his freshman year. So I didn't give him the opportunity to get a Division I scholarship like sometimes now the expectations are, but I gave him a chance to get a Division I education with the Marine Corps. And he's doing very well now, and you know, that's what coaching is really all about. So I appreciate you all being here and having a chance to be with the great coaches and the jump shot. And then in the back, the two assistant coaches, our athletic director, wonderful young woman that I get a chance to work with every day, her very supportive husband with those nice hats on. Really appreciate that. And then we go over next to Kyle, and then there's another boy. I'm winding down now. Jason, just give me an example of Jason. We're playing Pittsfield, and Jason was definitely one of our leaders on the team. So we weren't playing very well at halftime, and I was a little fired up. But, early on I still had fire, but the fire was a little different than earlier on. So Jason says, can I speak to the team before you go in? I said, that would be wonderful. So he went in and went on, not sure what he said, but it worked. We came out and had a heck of a second half. It's not about coaching, as was mentioned by a couple of coaches. You find out early on. It's the X's and O's and all that stuff. That's all great, but it's about the relationships, the people that are developing at that time. What impact can you have? What guidance can you give to make these players to be great young men and women? That's what coaching. In basketball, truly, the slogan that you see on the shirt is a game of life. It really is. And if I left somebody out, I apologize for that. Keith Matty over there, we congratulate him on his new role in New Hampshire Technical Institute. And at least that'll keep him away from coaching against me for another year or so. So that's good. So, anything else? Anyone want to ask Frank a question before we leave? Thank you very much.